all prices of oil and natural gas and all commodities, they're dictated by supply and demand. Nobody decides the price of oil. It's just supply and demand. But I think we've seen a market discounting the fact that clearly it's going to be easier to produce oil and gas in the United States. The restrictions and impediments we had in the last 4 years, they're gone. And so the market is discounting, yes, more supply is going to come, and that's pushed down prices of oil, gasoline, home heating fuels, everything across the board.
That's Chris Wright, the energy secretary who went from oil man to politician literally overnight, telling you in one sentence that nothing dictates oil prices except for supply and demand, and in the very next sentence telling you that the market is discounting oil prices because they think it's going to be easier to produce oil, which means they are literally deciding the price of oil, according to Chris Wright. Because as we know, traders drive down the prices of things if they believe things are going to happen. One anecdotal experience that we all share as people who live on the earth in the United States is that gas prices rise very quickly, but it takes a lot to get them to fall, right? But now we are to believe it doesn't take a lot to make them fall. It's just a few regulations, making it easier to drill. That's the politician part. Forget the fact that OPEC has been producing almost 500,000 barrels a day more than they thought they were. The fact of the matter is the biggest driver of production and oil production and natural gas production in the United States is profit. And the thing that determines profit more than anything isn't how much you spend, it's how much that well produces. And the reason that's important in the United States is because wells are producing less, which means their break-even price is significantly higher. Let me show you. These two charts coupled together show you exactly why production's pretty much going to remain mostly flat in the United States 2025. We might get an increase of 100,000 barrels a day, maybe. And when I say the 100,000 barrels a day, I'm not talking about average from 24 to 25. I'm talking about what we were producing at the end of 24 compared to what we are producing at the end of 25. And that's because by the end of 24, we were at 13.6 million barrels a day, even though the average for 24 is probably like 13.2 or 3. So let's talk about these charts. This chart up here, barrel of oil equivalent per foot. This is the change, right? This is how much wells are producing per foot of lateral length drilled and completed in the United States. And as you can see, they've been dropping. They've been dropping since 2021. This has been dropping since 2021. And since, right, the amount of oil these wells are producing is dropping, down below is break-even cost. Break-even cost is up 30% across the board down there. This correlates directly with each other. Drop in production, increase in price. Drop in production, increase in price. Regulation is a four-letter word that politicians love to throw around, but the fact of the matter is regulations have very little impact on how much oil we produce in the United States. It is minimal. You simply cannot convince me that an oil company won't spend a few more $1 million a year to make that same $20 billion. That is stupidity. And that's assuming the regulations even cost them a few more million a year. They typically don't, because oil companies operate at a higher standard than the government even asks them to. The fact of the matter is the amount of oil production that we are getting out of our wells on a per foot basis has been dropping for years. And as they continue to do that, the break-even price for oil is going to rise every single year. There is no scenario where we are increasing oil production in the United States at $50 oil or $55 oil or $60 oil. Oil companies in the United States are running out of what they call their Tier 1 assets. Tier 1 assets are their best producing land. They're running out of that. And they are not going to waste it on $50 or $60 prices. They will save that for when oil is $80 or $90. Thanks.